Welcome to the Lineman Lounge, hosted by Mike and Evo, calling their shots and being outlandish.
Breaking news from the Lineman Lounge. My fantasy football team just took a huge fucking hit. And that also makes it even more likely that the Raiders are going to beat the Ravens on Monday night. Le'Veon Bell is about to be your starter. Latavius Murray is going to go there as well. Jesus, fuck my ass.
Get ready for the thickest podcast in the game. Coming to you from Hangar 6, where sleeves are optional. Strap in. The show starts right now.
Come on, Stan, bitches. Good morning. It is early on a Saturday. Not nearly as early for me as it is for Evo, but I was out late. We are back in Hangar 6. I'm fucking pumped to be here. This is the Lineman Lounge, where sleeves are optional. I'm Mike. The guy to my right, that way, I have to do it backwards, is Evo, and we're fucking pumped to be here. We got some awesome shit to talk about this week. My picks were not great last week. Evo did much better. We got some baseball news. Albert Pujols is the fucking man, and then we're going to break down and kind of recap all the games from week 2 as we get into our picks from week 3. We also got some college football going on today as well. Big weekend for college football. But before we dive into all of that, Evo, how you doing? How's the weekend going? Just kind of getting started for you out there, right?
I mean, kind of getting started. Drowning sorrows of sorts at the bar last night, and then up early this morning to make sure the girl gets to work, and now doing the pod. So I'm trying to work my energy up right now. I slammed an energy drink and drinking a little bit of
coffee.
Yeah, I'll call it coffee, but it ain't coffee. Trying to get the energy levels up here because I am pumped to talk today about the machine, Albert Pujols, and about our favorite sport, football here, even if it is early on a Saturday morning. And I got a full fucking day, man. I got this. And right too. Afterwards, going to be going and playing 18 for the first time in feels like almost 2 months. And then hopefully I can get a nap in before we head out and possibly test out the fun fair in town.
The fun fair? What the fuck is the fun fair?
It's a fair of fun.
Oh, so you're supposed to have fun at this fair?
I believe so. I believe that's the intention. They had the Oktoberfest in town.
How was Oktoberfest? Is it getting any better? Because I remember Oktoberfest sucking balls when I was out there in Arizona.
I will say that it was an enjoyable experience this year.
Okay. All right.
This is only my second time ever going to this one, because after having, lived in Germany for some time,
right,
you get to experience real Oktoberfest. So I know that the first time I went to this Oktoberfest here was after I had been doing a real Oktoberfest in Germany. And so it had to have been 2012 timeframe, 2013, because I deployed shortly after.
Okay.
So it had been a while. We're talking, 10 years roughly. And that sucked balls. But when I went to this Oktoberfest, I mean, that Oktoberfest was literally like no music. They had rides up for the kids, and then they had a tent where you're paying for expensive like domestic beers. Like you could have a Budweiser or a Bud Light, and you can have a sausage. Well, this time they had every fucking vendor you could think of selling food. They had brats. They had, the Bavarian pretzels. They actually had a decent selection of beers. They were all domestic still.
Of course.
But you had options like Sam Adams Oktoberfest and then different things like that. So a decent selection. And I tried some beer that I had never tried, a Wow Wheat from Sam Adams. That was actually really good. I really enjoyed that. But neither here nor there. I had a much better time The
Good.
turnout
Good,
was
good, good.
great. They had good music and stuff like that. And apparently
Now-
the Fun Fest is kind of a carryover from that, where
Okay.
they
Now,
don't do the German stuff. But
is Oktoberfest is different than Beer Fest, right? The Brew Fest, I remember doing several times, and I had a pretty good time. But that's not the Oktoberfest, is it?
I know Beer Fest is a movie. by
No. So
Broken
there's
Lizards.
isn't there a Brew Fest, or is it the same, or is it different?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
Oktoberfest is having to do with the brewing of beers and shit like that in Germany and stuff like that. If there's some sort of a brew fest or something like that, I'm unsure.
Well, I wanted to say that Sierra Vista had a brew fest. I didn't think it was their Oktoberfest. God damn, man.
I don't know.
Go here.
Now the Eagles sideline reporter Bobbert Goblin did say that they were doing another Oktoberfest this weekend at the Elks Lodge, and that one's way better because they actually have like polka fucking music and real German beer and stuff like that. I know that he was planning on checking that one out, but yeah, I don't know. The woman already asked me literally as we were starting the pod, are we going to the Fun Fest tonight? And I was like, hey, whatever you want to do. Like, I'm doing my thing in the morning, and let's entertain you for the evening. So
there you go. Well, let's entertain our viewers, and let's start diving into some sports. So, sports wise, I actually don't have anything this week. We've covered all of Graydon's games.
I mean, if you want to talk a quick youth sport, if you check out the Lineman Lounge Facebook pages, I did put a incredible youth on there doing the McGritty.
Yeah,
did you see that video?
I did see
that. Was dope. Now there's
number 21 made a business decision.
If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, just look back in the past couple days on the Lineman Lounge socials, and you'll see. We'll call him a hell of an athletic kid. Playing running back and getting himself a little gritty touchdown dancing.
Yeah, he is a big boy, and that corner is like, you know what? Fuck it, just score. I'm not doing this. Not worth it. Business decisions were made at the age of 8 there.
I don't know what took more out of the running back there, if it was the run or the gritty.
I think it was the gritty because he had to work harder on that.
He was probably winded afterwards.
Yeah, he had to work much harder on that gritty than he did to get in the end zone. It was terrible. Now, we do have a couple guys that we're trying to get in the future. Maybe next week we'll be featuring some more youth athletes. Just heard from their coach. So hopefully we'll get a couple guys on here next week that we can go ahead and highlight. But otherwise, youth sports outside of the McGritty, I got nothing else.
All righty. Well, let's
fucking dive into some sports. All right, so we are going to start in Major League Baseball, and I just don't know what else to say other than how could you not be romantic about baseball? Albert Pujols has fucking done it. I'm so glad he made it. I can finally say, not only is he going to get 700, he has 700 home runs. He is only the 4th player to ever make it to 700 home runs. The 2nd player ever behind joining Hank Aaron with 3,000 hits and 700 home runs. These numbers are fucking basically unheard of. Only one other guy has done it. Only 3 other guys have done it. And Albert Pujols has put together one of the greatest careers that I have ever had the privilege to watch. I am so fucking excited for him that he made it to this number. I didn't think it was going to happen early in the season. I wasn't sure that his body was going to hold up and make it all the way through. He absolutely has, and he's finally broke through, and he has a chance to win a World Series with that Cardinals team. They are very fucking good.
Yeah, I think that if you asked anybody at the beginning of this year if he was going to make the 700, and you'd probably have the homers, big time fans maybe, but you're talking 5-10% of people say maybe that's possible, but I surely didn't think it was possible. And then he's able to go out here versus LA and not only get 699 but get 700 as well to set the record. So an outstanding career. It's really cool that you're getting to see generational style history being made.
This is probably the greatest right-handed hitter I have ever seen with my own 2 eyes. I used to think he was Manny Ramirez, but it's got to be Albert Pujols for me. Like, Miguel Cabrera is right there. Him and Miguel Cabrera are 1-2 greatest right-handed hitters I've ever seen. But I think I'd have to give it to Pujols, the RBIs, the home runs, the hits. Kind of stinks that he's had some down years over the last couple of years because his career batting average has just dropped under 300 now. But it doesn't really matter. Like in this day and age, people aren't even fucking close to 300 for the most part. So he is the greatest right-handed hitter that I have ever watched. And I mean, he is his nickname. He is a fucking machine. The way, especially the last couple of weeks, the way he has powered through and just kept hitting in clutch moments for his team has been fantastic.
Yeah. And I'll say that the only thing that I think that could have possibly made it better was for him to have actually hit it in St. Louis. But the way that the Dodgers fans lost it, they were just as supportive as the hometown, it seemed like, so it was obviously a pretty awesome experience to watch. It was emotional for him, obviously. Outstanding career, and it's not done just yet.
Not yet. He's gonna have a chance to go win a World Series. That Cardinals team is very good. I could see them challenging the Dodgers to come out of the NL, and they could easily win this damn thing. Now we're going to stick in baseball real quick, but we won't need to talk about this long because I got to tell you, the race for the AL Central, while not officially over, it's basically fucking over. The Guardians' magic number is down to 3. We are 8 games up on the White Sox. I believe you guys are officially eliminated from wild card contention and playoff contention now.
Not officially. We are 11 games back. We don't actually have the E on the schedule yet for being eliminated, but we might as well be. We have less than a 1% chance according to ESPN, or less than a 0.1% chance according to ESPN to make it. So we need some movie matter
to make
it happen.
Miracle.
Yeah. Everybody on some team is going to need to have been found juicing, and
you're going to need a fucking a robot going out there and hit. I mean, maybe if you guys put buzzers on your chest and you know exactly what pitch is coming on every pitch, you guys could maybe climb back in.
Yeah.
I don't know who would ever do such a thing, but maybe that's how you could do it.
We could try to get Charlie Sheen to come out and pitch for us, and we could get a golden retriever to play our outfield, and some kid could break his arm and become a really good pitcher as well. And I don't know that we have better than a 5% chance at that point.
Right.
So, the Twin season is over. There's definitely talks about whether or not Rocco Baldelli should have a job. Based on the moves and stuff that we've had. I really liked Rocco when he came in there the first year, and then things have kind of been a roller coaster that mostly the roller coaster is breaking down. And as much as I like Rocco, I'm not invested in the team and in him as much as I am, say, with like a football team and my football coaches. It was a tough break for me with Zimmer, but I mean, you got to make changes if things aren't working.
Right, 100%.
That's the way it is.
Yeah, and the Guardians are a virtual lock at this point. Magic numbers down to 3. Any combinations, 3 wins or 3 losses for the White Sox. We're clinched. So that's definitely going to happen. The White Sox are fucking scrambling. Their season has been over for quite some time, in my opinion. They came in with a lot of big talking about the Guardian series, and then they went out there and laid an absolute fucking egg. Guardians swept them. So that was awesome, especially because Josh Naylor just keeps fucking running his mouth. I think Josh Naylor wants to fight everybody on that White Sox team, and I'm down for it. I think I would take Josh Naylor versus, I think, the majority of the guys on that team. Maybe not Eloy. Eloy is a big fucking boy, and he is strong as shit. But yeah, they're done. It's over. I believe this will be the last time that we have to see Tony La Russa in a White Sox uniform. I do not believe he will be back next year. They were expected to win this division. There's an epic collapse. The team looks like they play better when he's not there. So that's going to be over with. And my Guardians are going to go on, and we're going to play some fucking meaningful baseball in October. I'm so excited for that. I did not think that we had any chance in hell of making that happen at the start of the year. But October baseball, I'm super excited. I'm going to have to keep track of both sports for a little while longer. When baseball season ends now, we can shift focus all the way into football. But hey, if we can extend baseball season out, I'm 100% down for it for me.
I feel that. I mean, obviously, if my Twins were doing good, I'd be watching that as well go on. So I'm just waiting maybe for a surprise Timberwolves season, because apparently we have 3 of the top 50 players, like top 25 apparently, according to some reports. And they've been doing some cool things to boost up the roster, but we'll see. And then of course I've always got my Minnesota Wild. So
yep. So I gotta ask you a question. We don't spend a lot of time on baseball too often. Does this kind of remind you at all of the chase, the McGuire Sosa? Because we had Albert, we got to see that finally happen, and we're also still watching, eyes on Aaron Judge going for number 61 to tie Roger Maris's AL record and possibly break that record. Does this kind of rejuvenate baseball a little bit? Are you getting that feel? I mean, because I'm starting to get a little pumped up for it.
It's the best thing to happen to baseball in a while, because the last time that baseball really had this sort of appeal, I think, to the uber casual fan and people who weren't even fully fans of baseball was Bonds, Sosa, McGuire, that sort of situation. Not knowing that those were all steroid era type stuff, and people aren't going to be expecting that sort of production as much, right. To see it kind of start to happen a little bit again, obviously is going to bring some, more eyes to baseball. It's not the same. It's not the same fever pitch as it was then, because you were expecting like, oh, we're going to be having, some battles, some shootouts of home runs here, which, everyone likes to watch the long ball. Aaron Judge is absolutely fun to watch. And then in a separate category, this Pujols run for 700 has been an extremely fun thing to watch, because of their kind of mutual exclusiveness as like 2 separate records. Mm-hmm. That makes it a little different compared to people just shooting for like the home run record.
63 or...
Yeah, where there's that direct competition, that's the most fun. But this is absolutely still something that's bringing in more of those very casual fans and very passive sports people into being like, oh, baseball's got some cool stuff going on this year that, really wasn't expected to happen. It's the best thing to happen to baseball in quite a while, in my opinion, next to, Shohei and stuff like that. Having these outlier sorts of players, I don't want to call Shohei Michael Jordan of baseball type thing, but I mean, he's doing some pretty fucking awesome things right now.
Yeah, he is. All right, well, man, I love fucking baseball. How can you not be romantic about baseball? That's so much fun. But we're going to get off of baseball. We're going to transition over into some football, and we're going to talk college football to start the day.
I do have one thing.
All right, go ahead.
And I want to ask this, not baseball or football related. All right, at least not ask, but bring it up, just because I think it's probably necessary. So in basketball, there is a big story going on right now having to do with the Celtics.
Yeah. I don't know all the details, so I didn't want to dive into it, but let's go ahead. I know a little bit.
I was hoping you knew a little bit more than I did, because, it can easily get glossed over, but the Celtics actually suspended their head coach, and I'm going to fuck his name up, Ime Udoka. Mm-hmm. They suspended him for the year for, quote, violating team policies, multiple violations of team policies. And from what I can tell, it seems like he was having a months-long romantic and physical relationship with members of the team, female members of the team.
Yes, that is my understanding of this as well. However, one of those relationships kind of turned a little sour, and there may have been some reprisals somewhere along the line. That is the things that I think that I know. I do not know all of the intimate details of this story, though, because apparently things are getting worse and worse as they are going. And there's more details that are going to come out. And I think when all the details do come out, if things are as bad as are potentially being said by some of the people on Twitter, he won't be suspended for a year. He will be fired.
I think that it's good that the team is getting ahead of this to suspend him for a year, but with the way that things are going, is that it's probably going to end up resulting in him being fired. Honestly, if he's that good of a coach where you think you can just get away with suspending him for a year, it's kind of surprising, because, and again, I'm not like a hardcore basketball fan, but I didn't really know this guy.
Yeah, I mean, the Celtics were really good last year. I know that, but I don't know if that's the coaching or what it is. So
Yeah, it's tough for me to say. And then I guess in other kind of quick news for NBA, the owner of the Phoenix Suns and the what is it, the Phoenix Mercury?
Phoenix Mercury.
He is now putting the team up for sale after having said neighbor a whole bunch of times or something like that. Quoting it, but still not a good look.
No, it's never a good look. Like if you're white, just don't say that word.
Especially when you are the owner. You're the owner of sports teams that are primarily
like 99% of the league is fucking black. You can't use that word.
Yeah,
like ever.
It's like that's your first thing, but you're not supposed to use it ever. Really, it's not our place to say it. So yeah. A little bit of shakeup in some front offices there in the NBA.
Yeah, well, I mean, if things are the way they are and the way they're being reported, or possibly are the way they were reported, I think it's probably a good thing that we got some of that change coming.
Yeah. Also, you're that important. People are always looking out to get you. And so they have him recorded saying stuff. You just got to expect that. You're going to have someone recording you at all times if you have notoriety.
Yes.
So
it's guys, PR. Come on.
Yep.
Now, hey, Joe, I'm telling you, you could hire us. We'll do it. We may say fuck a lot, but we're never been in a position, I think, that we have to, be canceled or anything like that. So,
I mean, I have to bleep myself out a lot, but I'm not throwing around that sort of a racial slur. Yeah. Now we did have a comment from Joe Rockstar. Joe, if you're listening, the number is up. I understand you got a tea time, and I got a tea time too, buddy. But at least I waited to do mine after the show. A little respect would have been nice. You could have pushed your fucking tea time off a little bit. I'm sure he wants to call in and talk about his franchise quarterback.
Jimmy is back. Kind of expected that to happen, just not the way that it did.
And Joe, again, if you're listening, I don't know if you didn't see it in the fantasy league, but I offered you a trade and you still haven't said yes or no to it yet. You could have your boy Jimmy G.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know. But until he calls in, we can go ahead and get kicked off with the college football stuff you want to talk about.
So college football, there's going to be some pretty good games today. Clemson, Wake Forest. I'm kind of excited. I don't know that Clemson's really that good, but I also don't know if Wake Forest is that good. Be a nice little 5 versus 21 matchup there. I think there's a potential for a little bit of a shakeup. Clemson could fall, but they're in 5th spot right now because Michigan has jumped way the fuck up there as well. Michigan still very good from last year. I don't know if they are as good as they were last year. I hope they're not as good because they beat us last year. So would like to see them maybe fall back a little bit, but we're going to play them at some point again in the year. Tennessee, Florida. I don't know how Tennessee made it up to the 11th spot. I think that's way overrated for what Tennessee is. I expect Florida to go out and win that game. I could see that being a little higher scoring game as well. Two offenses that really are not very good. But this is kind of like a rivalry. I could see things getting a little out of hand, points going up. Other places, we got some SEC decent matchups finally starting because we're in the conference play. Arkansas takes on Texas A&M. That's 10 versus 23. A&M, big loss early in the season, and they need to bounce back. This is a team that they thought that they were going to be competing for an SEC title, possibly making their way into the playoffs. They got to get a massive win, start building back their resume, and they can do that against a top 10 team. And then for my boys, Ohio State's taking on Wisconsin. That is always a tough game. It doesn't matter that Wisconsin is not ranked. Those guys are always pretty goddamn good. Night game, they're doing a blackout in the Horseshoe. So I'm very pumped to see that. That game starts at 7:30. I am not going out to the bars tonight, so I'm going to have an opportunity to sit down and actually enjoy some fucking Ohio State football, which I have not been able to do. I've been catching, a quarter here or a quarter there in between Graydon's football and everything else I got to do. So I'm super pumped to see those guys go out there and hopefully ball out tonight against Wisconsin. Anything that you see that you want to talk about in that college football?
There's one game that if I actually had money in the sports book left, I would be betting on. And this is just kind of a little bit of an outlier. I've been watching a lot more sports betting shows, specifically with college football, just trying to get a little bit more involved with that. And one thing that I keep on seeing over and over again is this Washington State Oregon game, number 15 Oregon, and it's being played in Pullman, Washington. Washington State is 3-0 this year. They have been dominating people at home. They've looked really good. And I think this is a spot right now where the line is Oregon -6.5. Most of those betting or most of the betting shows and stuff that I'm watching are saying take Washington State plus the points here, that they actually have a very good chance just to win this outright and could get themselves up in that national standings here after this game. So not that Oregon is a slouch, but that they think that they actually absolutely could have Oregon's number in this game. So if you're looking to make a bet, that's my one bet that I've got for you today for college football is Washington State plus the points. That could be a nice little payout for you.
All right. Yeah, so I've seen people start talking about that as well. I don't know what Oregon is. I don't watch Washington State football. I've seen a lot of people start saying that though. So listen, I got no money left in the sports book either. Otherwise, I'd consider playing it. I'm thinking I'm gonna wait to. When do bye week start? Is it next week?
I believe technically after next week, because next week is the first game in Europe, and that's when the Vikings play, but they aren't taking their bye week right afterwards. So they're going to be doing that for other teams. I know usually it's around week 4.
Yeah, so we're getting close to bye week starting. I'm going to have to put a little bit of money in. I want to try to hit my, that magic 16-leg parlay, and then win $1 million. So I might have to toss a little. I don't know. I'm going to figure it out, but that is a good bet. Everybody's on that. So anything else college football wise?
Nope, not for me, man.
All right. Let's dive over into the NFL. So storylines kind of going on. Herbert is still banged up. He may not play on Sunday. That's going to be a big time factor for that Chargers team. I don't know who they got at backup now. I know at one point they had Chase Daniels.
Yeah, so it's not the worst option possible.
Okay.
They actually have a guy who's been known to be a long-time league backup, and when he's had to come in garbage time, he has done pretty well.
All right. Well, good job, Aubrey. Let's kick it in our own goal next time. And we got a phone call coming in. Joe is calling us, so we'll go ahead and take that real quick.
Press 1.
There we
To
go.
send a voicemail, press 2. To accept, press 1.
All right, Joe Rockstar, you are on with the Lineman Lounge. What do you got for us, brother?
What's up, guys? I missed you last week.
We were here. I don't know where you were, Joe, but we're always here. We break down your boys, too. I was expecting a much different game, and obviously a lot of things happened last week with your 49ers.
Well, I want to say hello from the great state of Utah. I am in Salt Lake City, doing a little testing out here, and I walked into the test trailer, and I saw a water bottle with a sticker on it that says Lineman Lounge. Now, how cool is that?
There we go. Kind of getting around out there. I'll mess around out in Utah.
The guy attached to it was Jory, if you remember him.
I do know. Yeah, Jory, what's up, man?
Yeah. So, anyways, wasn't expecting Trey Lance to get hurt so soon. I know there's been a lot of criticism about the coach and the play calling, but that's why we got him. We got him so he can run. So I don't see anything wrong with running the guy.
Yeah, I mean,
and then he called the same play for Jimmy. So I mean, Jimmy ran it up the middle once. He didn't get the touchdown, and then his quarterback sneaked it in right after that. So whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the play call. What I I know Trey is a very athletic guy. We want to get him out there, and like I want to get him on the edge though. For me, I want him on the edge. Just that way he can go down, be a little easier there. It sucks for Trey, but this is kind of something that I alluded to. Is I don't know if they were concerned about injury, but I felt like the Niners were definitely hedging their bets, and they needed to keep Jimmy around in case something like this happened, or if Trey just was not performing.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something was going on back there. I just think they couldn't get rid of Jimmy, and why not keep him? If you're gonna have a quarterback who's showing that he doesn't have a lot of accuracy, and I know a lot of people say that about hey, get him out to the edge, but I mean, I hate to say it, but the kid's just he's not decisive and quick enough to get around the edge. He's always running into linebackers there too. So no matter where you run him, he's gonna be exposed, But I just, I really didn't get into this last time we talked. I was the thing about Trey that bothered me. I mean, I like the kid, and I'm going to support whatever quarterback the 49ers got. But my problem with the whole thing was that he didn't beat out the other guy to get the spot. He got given the spot because of where he's picked in the draft. And I think that's just the way our society is. It's kind of messed up, I think.
All right, Evo, you want to go ahead and take that on?
Yeah, so it's going to be kind of tough for Joe to hear me, obviously, because of delays and all that stuff.
Oh, I can't hear Evo. I can't hear Evo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna let Evo talk because we want to bring him into the show, and I'll kind of give you the finer points here, Joe, as he's going.
As far as bringing Lance in to run him,
I'll hang up and I'll listen on because I'm on a delay. So
he'll take his call.
Hey, I just wanted to say, go Niners. Big game today. Russell's got our number, but we'll see. Different team. Yeah,
I mean, hey, Broncos country is not fucking riding. They are not happy right now. They are dying a slow, painful death. And it's literally happening in 5-yard increments because they are not getting plays off in a quick enough fucking time.
Well, once that offensive line gets used to Russell and the way he moves around, I think they'll do a little better.
All right, we'll see. Well, Joe, thanks for your call. And then, Evo, we'll go ahead and attack that last part of your comment there. So, Joe, thanks for calling in, man. We appreciate you. And go Niners for today. Or I guess tomorrow.
All right, I love you guys. Go Niners.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
Talk to you later.
So what Joe brought up originally, that, this is the reason why this type of quarterback was brought in, so that way he could run and whatnot. I agree and I disagree. You have your outliers like a Lamar Jackson, who is like, I'd say almost like a 60-40 running quarterback at least. And that's why you bring that guy in. Whereas Trey Lance has that ability to run, but I don't see him as, one of those purely running type of quarterbacks. Much more akin to a Josh Allen or something like that. Someone who is very capable and sturdy and can run when you need them to. But if you watch the Bills game, you don't see them doing a ton of designed runs with him. He's able to see what's happening with the defense and make that quick decision of like, okay, this is now a run play for me, where I'm going to keep the ball because, they're playing a loose coverage and I, have my guys going deeper downfield. There's nothing open immediately, so I'm going to take off and run. That's the benefit of having a quarterback like a Trey Lance or a Josh Allen. When you keep doing designed runs with them, yes, that opens up other options for you on your offense. It definitely gets the defense questioning. But I mean, even Jalen Hurts, who again, definitely more of a running quarterback. I saw this on Monday. He didn't really have a ton of designed runs. There was a lot of RPOs and things like that where it gave him the option. But passing was still an option there as well. So when you get a guy like a Trey Lance, who's your first round pick, and you want him to be your franchise guy for years and years and years and years, you have to protect that asset to some extent. You need to think about the longevity of him as well. And now to already have this sort of an injury, it's such a huge setback because the guy is just starting to learn the position still. And obviously from what we've seen so far in the preseason in these first couple of games, it wasn't all 100% clicking just yet. is he going to have more time to learn the playbook and stuff like that? Sure, but you actually getting meaningful reps in practice and stuff like that aren't going to be happening, so that's a little bit more difficult. I'll say this about having Jimmy there. I mean, I bet you if they could have moved him, they would, but now they actually look like geniuses for keeping him around. And I don't know how you feel, but I feel tremendously better about this 49ers season now that Jimmy's going to be the quarterback. Like, as soon as that happened, I was like, this is the best thing to happen to the 49ers this year. I mean, I don't want to see someone like Lance get injured, but for the sake of this season and this franchise this season, like, I feel like this is the best thing that could happen, because while Jimmy, like we've talked about, isn't a world beater, he's a winner and he knows how to run this offense. He's a long-term tenured professional that knows how to win football games, knows how to win in the playoffs and beat teams like the Packers. You know, the 49ers got a good track record with that.
Yeah, they do.
So it's awesome that they have him there available and that he was able to easily step in, and he didn't throw like this crazy game last week, but he played very well and he got them the win. So it makes me feel way better about the 49ers team for the rest of the season. I like my playoff odds for them immediately jump up having him back there at quarterback. So if I were Joe, I mean, again, bummer that you lost, you know, your first round pick and all the assets you had to trade and everything to make sure that you got him. But right now, for this year, this second, it's a good thing for your team.
Yeah, I am 100% on board with that as well, man. Like, Jimmy is going to be the best option for you guys to win now. Trade needs more time. Now, it sucks. He's not going to get that time. He's not going to get reps because he's hurt. He's going to be out for the year. He's going to need reps at some point, and they're going to have to find a way to get him reps. That's probably coming next year. There's no way Jimmy G is around again. It's going to be the Trey Lance show next year. And now you're going to have him sitting out an entire another year. Now, he can do a lot of mental reps, but that's not the same as actually performing on the field. But if I'm a Niners fan, I'm very excited about the possibilities of getting back to the playoffs and making a run at the Super Bowl. Jimmy's been there. He's done it multiple times. He's been there once. He almost got there a couple other times. He can get you where you need to be as a team. So he's just not going to win you a game. But if I'm a Niners fan, that keeps us, you know, in the playoff hunt. It's going to prevent us from, you know, absolutely tanking this fucking season, because you know what you don't have? A goddamn first round pick anyways. Like, you're not really worried about your draft position. Like, go try to win. That's exactly what you're looking for. You already burned those first round picks.
I mean, the best thing that you can hope for is that Lance is going to have a relatively quick and speedy recovery, and then you can try this adventure again next year. And if Jimmy G has himself a very good year this year, you might be able to parlay him into a second round pick, or even for a very desperate team, a first round pick in the offseason somehow. But I don't know that that's even an option.
Well, I think he's only
contract is structured.
Yeah, he's on the 1 year deal, and there's no trade clause in there. So it's like Jimmy took care of himself. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah. I mean, he's not getting the big money this year, but he's gotten plenty of big money in his career already. So he'll be all right. But moving back to what we were talking about before the call happened, Justin Herbert has that cartilage injury and is still iffy on whether or not he's going to play. But the backup is Chase Daniels. He's been shown to be a pretty competent backup to be able to come in and start a couple games for you. I was listening to some serious NFL radio this morning. They were actually talking to Herbert, and he basically said what we had said last week after we knew about that cartilage injury, is that, hey, it's pain.
Yeah, it's
like
pain.
People play through pain in the NFL. He said, pretty sure that nobody that is a consistent starter in the NFL goes out on any given Sunday and doesn't feel shitty. Like, it doesn't have some pain. And he's like, so this is something that it's part of the NFL. It's part of something that you play through. It's part of something that you work through. So I think that his mental mindset is, I'm going to go out there and play. Obviously, they sat him out yesterday of practice, but in reality, why wouldn't you sit him out?
Yeah, I don't think he needs reps.
Yeah, he's probably, you know, got the playbook down. He's got the rapport with his players. So he's going to be able to go out there and perform just as well as if he had practiced on Friday as if he didn't. So I'm not really too worried about that. It is going to make a difference if you are playing, some fantasy players. Obviously, Herbert is going to be one of those guys that you're going to be watching if you have him on your team. But also for guys like, for me, a Keenan Allen, who is still not for sure. He's questionable if he's going to be playing.
I think
Mike Williams, things like that. If those guys don't go, having an Austin Eckler or the running game for that team is going to definitely be helpful.
Well, and if Herbert doesn't go, I'm probably fading those wide receivers in the fantasy because, while Chase Daniels is a very competent backup, I don't know that I'm expecting Chase Daniels to feed my guy in fantasy. I might look for other options somewhere else if you got one of those guys and you got to depend on Chase Daniels to get them the ball.
Yep.
No big knock on Chase Daniels, but he's not Herbert. Like, those points are going to come down a little bit.
Yep. So we had a question from Roberta Gussolini, the Eagle Shithawk sideline reporter. Would you be taking the Bengals in a Survivor League this week? Also considering the Niners or Chiefs, but don't want to burn my Chiefs pick too early.
So I don't want to give. We're going to talk about the games and who we think is going to win each game. So Goose, go ahead, hang around. Besides, we might need you for some Eagles talk after a little bit, anyways.
Yep. We'll get deeper into it. I actually recommended to someone earlier this week for Survivor League. They asked what I thought about the Bengals playing the Jets, and I was like, that's probably one of the safer picks this week, I would think. I don't know how you feel about that after your performance last week versus the Jets.
So the Bengals have been not very good.
Yeah, that's the thing. They have to be able to pick it up at some point in time because this should be on paper a better team than they were last year.
This is make or break week. This is a big fucking game for the Bengals.
Yeah. All right.
Any other storylines?
Nothing too big that's necessarily popping out at me.
Okay. So we're about ready to start diving into a little bit of a recap and talking about the games coming up for this week.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Are we ready to kind of do our recap of last week's games while we're making our picks for this week?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. So, where the hell is it? There it is. Picks last week. Evo did much better than I did. I did not have a great week. We're going to go ahead and pull this bad boy up. Let's see here. I need to... Oh, stop it. Where's the zoom? There she is. Too big? Good?
No, that's perfect. That's perfect.
All right. Yeah, because I can't see our screen while we're... All right, so week 2 started out pretty good. We were both on Chargers, both on Detroit, and then I had a string of just complete dog shit in the middle of the day. Caught a couple there towards the end, but my record last week, 6-10, and then Evo over 500 this week at 9-7. I'm currently sitting at 12-19-1. Evo's at 15-17. You are much closer to being back over that 500 mark. I got some fucking work to do this week, so gonna need to get better with the picks because we can't be going way sub 500. I want to be like 520 win percentage here because that makes me a pretty good gambler if you're hitting that.
My North Star is definitely shooting for like a 60% hit rate.
Yeah, 60% would be super dope because you can make quite a bit of money doing that. But I would take 52%, 55% makes you pretty good money as well. 52% at least keeps you even for the most part, depending on size of your bets. So
the unfortunate part is that, while we make these predictions, we don't make all these bets. And like I said, the sports book right now is dry.
Yeah, the sports book is dry. Mine is... it was gone after last week. I thought I was going to hit it with the Browns, and then they got backdoor covered, and then they lost. Luckily, they were able to come through on Thursday night, and we can kind of start there, do a little recap of our Thursday night game before we start diving into this week's games. And it was a good game by the Browns. They did what they needed to do. Ran the ball incredibly efficiently again. I want to say they got 180-ish yards rushing. They fell down a little bit from their 200 yards per game average, but I don't really get 180 yards. Controlled time of possession, 36-minute time of possession.
171 yards rushing, and Brissett was 21 of 31 for 205 yards with 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's efficient.
Now, I'll say this. I obviously, it's positive that you guys are able to get the win, but this 29-17 score looks a lot different than what the actual game kind of was. This was much more of a fight than it looks like according to the score, and that's because of a late game score by your Browns, which fucked up a lot of people's betting lines.
Yeah, it did.
And there's a lot of people upset about that. You have McAfee and stuff talking about is the NFL rigged and stuff like that. So,
where did that come from?
But the Steelers actually put up a little bit of a fight, more of a fight than I was really expecting against the Browns. But that's kind of been a little bit of what's been happening. We talked about this some earlier, at least via text message through the year or the season so far. It seems like the Browns are almost playing down to their opponents.
Yeah.
And then hoping that they're going to be able to eke out a win there at the end. The fact that you guys took an L from the Jets the week prior, that's a tough one. That's a tough one, especially when it's late in the game, like it happened. So I'll be interested to hear your kind of take on what the hell is happening here in Cleveland.
So team meeting was called early in the week. Week fucking 3, they're having a team meeting. That's a wild scenario. I think there was some lack of confidence between players and each other and within the coaching staff. Things started to get ironed out a little bit. Defense played much better. Now, granted, we were going against Mitch Trubisky. Second half, we were able to force Mitch to kind of throw it into the middle of the field. He doesn't do a great job throwing it into the middle. And we were able to take advantage. And then we were able to run it right down the throats. We have the best offensive line, and it's not even our best offensive line. Like, we've got guys that are missing or still banged up. So that's exactly what we were able to do. Nick Chubb, another 23 carries, 113 yards, touchdown. Kareem Hunt, 12 carries. We were not very efficient outside of Nick Chubb, though. Kareem, 3.9 yards on average. Nick, close to his career mark. He's over 5 for a career mark. He's at 4.9 in this game. And Amari Cooper has really, really stepped up. And we saw David Njoku be that guy that we thought we were going to get when we paid him this year. The play action pass is going to be the linchpin to this offense all year long. If we can effectively run the ball and boot off of that and hit play action, we can be very efficient. Amari Cooper is a great route runner. David Njoku is a national champion high jumper. So we got guys who are athletes who can go out and win matchups and go get the ball. Now, one thing that does concern me, and I don't know that it's that big of a concern, is Nick Chubb's usage. So last year we saw a little bit better spread, I want to say, in the amount of carries and the amount of touches that Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt were getting. Right now, Nick is kind of dominating that, but he's earned those carries. He's being more efficient. But he's on pace right now for 357 carries. 350 carries, that's a lot, especially if you start adding in if he's getting any catches. That 400 touch mark is where we start getting worried about running backs and their longevity of their careers. That's a lot of wear and tear. I think we're going to have to start being more efficient with other guys to maybe take some of that pressure off of Nick, because I don't want to see him with 400 touches. I do not. He could win MVP if we give him enough touches. He could be one of the running backs that does it. Him, Derrick Henry, and a Jonathan Taylor. I think probably the only 3 guys that could do it with enough touches. But I don't want to see Nick out of town in 2 years. I want him to have a 10, 12-year career, and I think that his numbers need to come down a little bit on how much he's touching the ball.
Yeah, I mean, you watch whenever Hunt's out there, and he's very efficient as well. And you know that you have Jerome Ford sitting in weight, and what we saw what he could do in the preseason and stuff like that. Like, getting him mixed in a little bit more. It sucks for fantasy if you're got Chubb on your team, because obviously, you know, you want him to get as many touches and get as many points for you as possible. But not talking fantasy, talking regular football, you want to extend the longevity and career of these guys and get them rest and stuff like that. And when you have a stable of running backs like the Browns do, mixing it up makes all the sense. My worry was a little bit on your left side of the line there with Jedrick Wills. You know, we saw him kind of have a little bit of an injury for a second, but yeah, he definitely struggled. Alex Highsmith was getting the best of him on several occasions in that game, whereas Wills, you know, I've always seen as one of those more, you know, above average tackles in the league. And he seemed to be getting turned around or, you know, not being able to cover Highsmith as well, which is a little bit scary.
Yeah, Jed has had some issues. He looked pretty good his rookie year, but I think things were made a little easier on him. He's not a natural left tackle. He was a right tackle in college, and we switched him over to the left side, and he's struggled, especially at the start of this year and last year. Injuries have been a concern. I don't know what the right answer there is. Jed needs to kind of polish up his game. Probably needs to go hang out and spend some time with Joe Thomas, and they need to start doing a little group session, some workouts, because Joe's one of the best of all time. And Joe is the master of the vertical set. Like, I don't know if anybody has ever had as good a pass set going straight back to cut off angles as Joe Thomas, because he never overextended. But we see Jed a lot of times getting out of position, overextending, and then he's getting crushed to his inside. There's a lot of work there to be done. Even with that, though, we still have a really good offensive line. And we got some guys that if we need to, we could make changes. But I want to see Jed at least finish out, you know, this contract, hopefully make some progression and kind of lock down that left tackle spot. But I don't think that he's not solidified that position at all. This last game wasn't just one bad game. It's kind of been a trend. There's been some things that have been posted on Twitter of Jed just either not giving any effort or completely fucking whiffing on blocks. That is something that's got to get fixed. That didn't hurt us in this game, but you play a really, really good team and you get those negative plays on that left-hand side consistently. Anytime you're not getting yards on a play, that's a fucking problem. You cannot be behind the sticks in the NFL, especially if you're playing a defense that can get after you. And we didn't have to worry about that with the Steelers because, I mean, TJ was gone. Alex Highsmith had a pretty goddamn good game, but he was also going against Jedrick Wills. So, I don't know. That's going to have to get cleaned up. I don't know what the right answer is because I don't know if they're ready to say, all right, Jed, sorry, bro, you're done. Like, we have another rookie. Started at right tackle in the first couple games for us because Conklin was out. We could toss him over there. I don't know if they're ready to make that decision now.
Probably not. You want to give the kid time to develop and work through this. And I mean, Callahan's your offensive line coach, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, one of
best
the best
offensive
in the
line
game.
coach. And
give him time to work and figure this out. Hopefully he doesn't get mentally in a funk where he can't get out of it. I mean, we've seen that happen before, but I like I said, I like Wills. I like some of the stuff that I saw out of him. It seemed like he's been getting ate up way more than he should as of right now. So hopefully it's early season jitters and things like that, and things that can be worked through.
Yeah, he's got to work on his vertical pass set. He's got to work on his angles. But all right, anything else on the Browns game? Hey, good win. I was at the game selling raffle tickets. We did a good job. But as soon as they kicked that field goal to bring it within 6, and I knew an onside kick was coming, I fucking left. I was like, nope, I'm not doing this again. I listened to Al and Kirk on the way home. I was like, all right, I'm like, if there's gonna be this heartache, I'm not gonna watch it 2 weeks in a row. Also, if shit would have gone down the wrong way, there would have been some nasty brawls inside that stadium. There was already one brawl that happened in the bathroom, apparently, while we were there selling tickets. Some dude just getting fucking stomped out. Browns.
That's why Mike had to jet the fuck out of there quick. He's like, I don't want to get caught. This guy selling raffle tickets, and then he walked up to me, all was pissing, and he fucking donkey punched me.
Yeah, just fucking laid him out. Shouldn't have been wearing that TJ Watt jersey, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, the only other thing I got with that game, man, is George Pickens. what a fucking catch. And that's,
Kid can play.
that's my guy. But I'll put this out there. The only way
I
that
was
he
wrong.
makes that sort of catch is if you have a Mitch Trubisky throwing to you with that sort of inaccuracy. Then you have
Well,
to be
and
that
there's a little
athletic
bit
to go
of
out and
push
get it.
off. There's a little bit of push off, but I'll tell you what.
A little bit.
Right now, I am man enough to say I was wrong on Pickens. The kid can play. He can play for sure. He's uber athletic. He's so fucking tall, so long with his arms, and he's pretty goddamn good route runner.
How does it feel to be like a Packers team that goes and takes Christian Watson
Who can't fucking catch
above this guy?
Yeah.
This guy's going out there and making this sort of Odell Beckham Jr.-esque type of catch, and then you got wide open, can't make a catch.
Who would know the answer to that question? Howie Roseman. How do you take Jalen Reagor over a Justin Jefferson?
Yeah, and
how does that make you feel?
I'll say this: we got a little bit of uses out of Jalen, and it wasn't horrible for the role that we're putting him in right now. It wasn't horrible. So, not first round pick quality, but we didn't get him for a first round pick.
No,
that's not there because that game just did not look great, and I can't talk a whole bunch of shit. But I'm ready to move on to the rest of our slate of games.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. What game do we want to start with? I got to pull up the fucking schedule.
So I'm just going to work down the ESPN line here. So we've got our first early morning game: Texans and Bears being played Soldier Field in Chicago. The line is currently Chicago minus 2.5, over under of 39.
This game's gonna fucking stink. I don't know that there's a game that I want to watch less than this game.
I'm not really looking forward to it. I won't be watching unless it is just part of something that pops up on Red Zone while I'm watching that. But realistically, I'm not going to be watching Red Zone because my game is an early game, so I'm just going to be focused on that. On this one, you've got the Texans 1-1, and the Bears are 1-1, getting that win versus the 49ers at home. They actually were able to run the ball a little bit against the Packers last week. The Bears were, and they should have actually had a closer score. That was a touchdown by Justin Fields that was not called a touchdown. Even after reviewing and everything. But for this one, I think, I've called it that. I think the Bears are potentially one of the worst, if not the worst team in the NFL. Texans aren't great. But I have to kind of stick with that. I'm going to take Texans plus the points here, and I think that there's a strong chance that the Texans actually come away with a win here to get their first win of the year. So I'm going to be taking Texans plus the 2.5.
Yeah, all right. And I was actually in the middle of writing mine down. I'm also going Texans plus 2.5. I think the Texans are improving. I think they can be pretty good. I'm still not sold that offense knows exactly what it's doing on the Bears side. Now they do look better. Justin Fields has played much better. They ran the ball well. I feel like the Texans have a chance to outright win this game. Because I don't know it's going to be a very good game. So because neither one of these teams are really all that good, and I'm not confident in either one of them, I'm going to take the points because I feel like that helps me out the most. So I'm going to Houston plus the 2.5.
Yep. All right, ready for the next one?
Yeah, we got Vegas and Tennessee. This is another game that I think is actually going to be a real goddamn stinker. I don't know that either one of these teams is super, super good. I believe that the Raiders are better than the Titans, but I do not believe that the Titans will go 0-3.
The line is Vegas minus 2, over under at 45.5. Look, the Raiders looked like they were going to win their game last week. And maybe, we have to do a little bit more research on our part. We had the take about new Call of Duty coming out and Kyler might not be ready. That was PlayStation only last week, and I don't know if he just plays on a PlayStation controller or if he plays on PC. Because I kind of believe that, with his sort of money, that he would play on a PC just with a controller if he's used to a controller. This weekend, however, is the open beta PC everything for Call of Duty. So he for sure will have been playing since Thursday, playing the game. So a little bit more of that.
We'll get to that.
Game. But maybe that explains why he was able to figure things out a little bit better in the end of that Raiders game and kind of pull off a miraculous comeback. the Raiders, I mean, Titans got
demoralizing loss.
Titans got stomped. Raiders got demoralized there at home.
Yeah.
I'm taking Raiders money line just because it's at home for them. I think that these teams both have, potential to be above 500 teams, and obviously neither of them has shown that yet because they're both 0-2. I'm going to just take the Raiders money line on this because of the home team. But obviously Vegas is seeing these teams as pretty evenly matched. That's why we only have a 2-point spread here. So I'm not a big fan of what I'm seeing from the Titans. The Raiders do have a pretty solid passing attack if Derek Carr can get that figured out.
I think that fucking loss to the Vegas the loss that Vegas had last week is going to be really demoralizing. And I think the Titans are probably a little bit better than what they've shown. Now, they were playing the Bills, and the Bills were always going to stomp them out. I had no doubts about that. I think they probably get it back on track this week. I think Derrick Henry finally starts to fucking unhitch the goddamn trailer that looks like he's been carrying around. He has not looked quick. I think they will get right. This is a get right game for Tennessee in my mind. I'm going Tennessee money line.
All righty. Our next game, Chiefs and Colts, being played in Indianapolis. The line is Kansas City -5.5 with an over/under of 50.5. Another game that looks like Shaq Leonard is going to be out 3 games in a row. It's getting a little bit scary for those guys. I believe Michael Pittman is slated to play this game. I'm not sure about Alec Pierce, whether or not he's going to be out there. Just another demoralizing loss last week for the Colts.
Yeah, man. God, they can't get right either.
I mean, it's the Jags, man. The Jags have their number for whatever reason. I know that our boy Kyle Kimmel was actually asked, I believe, last night how he's feeling about Matt Ryan. And
yes, he hasn't jumped off a fucking bridge yet, has he?
No, he hasn't. He's still holding that hope for Matt Ryan. I am as well, but I'm definitely quickly moving off that take. I believe I posted something last week about how it might be time to send him off to the glue factory. That pony might have had its best days. It's rough going right now for the Colts. I mean, they still only have 1 loss, even though a tie to the Texans feels like a loss. But
yeah.
But it's the Chiefs all day for me on this one. I should feel good enough to go Kansas City -5.5, but I'm gonna just go ahead and take Chiefs money line on this one just to be safe. The over under of 50.5, I think, is asking a bit. But I'm not going to touch that one either. I like the Colts if they can start putting it together. If Matt Ryan can start looking, like 80% his old self, he just hasn't yet. And that defense needs to start stepping up better, because if you're allowing if you're allowing the Jaguars to get 24 points, things are not clicking.
No.
So for me, it's the Chiefs in this one.
Yeah, I got Chiefs here, and I'm going to take the cover. The Chiefs typically do not cover, but I don't know that this Indy team is really the team that we were thinking that they were going to be. The Chiefs offense, I thought it was going to be a little different, and it is different, but I think it's actually better that they don't have Tyreek. They're not so dependent on Tyreek. They have done a really good job of incorporating their other weapons into that offense. Makes them a little more multiple, in my opinion. They are very exciting to watch. I think they're going to be able to go up and down the fucking field and kind of just put this away, unless Jonathan Taylor can go out and really grind this game out for the Colts. I could see this being a fucking 14-point game. So was it 6.5, right?
5.5.
5.5. Oh yeah. So I like that even better. So Chiefs minus the 5.5 for me.
All righty. Next game, we have the Bills again versus the Dolphins. This might be the game of the week, realistically, the way that the Dolphins have been playing after that big time win last week versus the Ravens. Currently, it is being played in Miami, and the line is Buffalo -5 with an over/under of 53.
I do not see any way that the Bills don't win this game. I'm still not convinced that Tua is that dude. Now
Be careful, Tuanon's listening. They're out there.
I know he's been pretty goddamn good, but I don't know that he's been that good. Like, you know who's been really good? Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill after the catch. That's who's been really fucking good. And I think the Bills can come up and force some interesting throws out of Tua this week. That Bills fucking front is might be the best front in football. They're going to put pressure on him. I don't think that the Dolphins' offensive line is that good. I really like the secondary of the Bills to be able to tackle and wrangle those guys in as well.
That's the thing, is that's a little bit more scary for me, is that Bills secondary is definitely beat up. You have Dane Jackson, who looked like he had his neck fucking broke.
Oh my God.
Last week. He's not going to be playing, but apparently he's going to be all right. Micah Hyde just got put on IR.
I didn't hear about that. Micah Hyde going to IR.
Yeah, just popped up from Schefter about 35 minutes ago that Micah Hyde got put on IR due to his recent neck injury, and they expect a healthy return in 2023 for Micah Hyde. So this is expected to be a full season, which is not a good thing.
That is not good
for the Bills. That being said, they do have a very good defense, a good secondary, even without those guys. But that it's going to play a difference, especially when you're going up against a Waddle and a Tariq and Gesicki and stuff like that. So it is something to be noted there. Another couple other stats here. So Tua is now 6-0-1 against the spread as a dog of more than 3 points. And 2-0 home underdogs in week 3 of the NFL season are 11-3 against the spread since 2006. So right now the Dolphins are home dogs of more than 3 points. History tells us that they are good at beating that spread. Not necessarily
winning, but
not necessarily just Miami, but beating the spread. So that definitely is something to factor in playing your gambling odds here a little bit. I really want to take the Buffalo -5 here. And if I was looking to get the money on this, I would, just to do a safe bet. I'm going to say Buffalo wins this game. I still feel very confident in Buffalo being able to win this game. I think that the two toughest things that they got in their season is this Dolphins team right now, because it's still a bit of an unknown. And
it's a division game too.
The Chiefs. So it's the Bills for me. Another thing is that, it is still Mike McDaniel's rookie head coach. This is his 3rd game now. NFL is played in 4 game sets, basically. You think you know what a team might do, but you don't really know. Then after 4 games, you start to get a little bit better idea. After 8 games, you have a much more solid idea of what's going on. It takes those little 4-game chunks for people to actually figure out what the other team's scheme is and stuff like that, even more so with the new head coach. So people are slowly going to start to figure out what McDaniels is doing and why he's being successful there. And realistically, a lot of that has to do with that high tempo passing offense that they have. Like you said with Tua, I'm not sold on him being the guy. He is putting up pretty solid numbers, but a lot of that is after the catch yardage and stuff like that he is getting put on his stat book. And the guy does throw it up a lot. I would have to say you should be looking, if you're going to be betting this game, look in the sports book and see what sort of numbers they have on over under interceptions for Tua, because the guy likes to toss it up.
Yeah, I would take the over for sure. So based on the numbers you put out there, I'm not taking the spread. I think it could go over the spread. I think the Bills can fucking easily cover that, but I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to go against all the numbers that we look at for a reason. Did that week 1. It did not work out. So I'm going Bills money line here. I still don't see a way that the Bills don't win, but Mike McDaniels could be a stud. And maybe Tua is going to shut me the fuck up and prove that, he's a dude. I just don't see it.
Hey, those Bama quarterbacks are not doing too bad between Tua and Jalen right now.
Yeah, I know. Well, so I don't know if I want to call Jalen a Bama quarterback. Now, he did win a national championship there. He was there longer than he was there at Oklahoma. But I felt like it was kind of a shitty way that exit happened.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously,
I would take Jalen over Tua for sure.
Yeah.
At this point in their NFL careers, I would. Maybe not in college. Jalen didn't throw the ball as well. I don't think he was as dynamic as he has become. But I kind of think of him as an Oklahoma quarterback.
Fair enough.
Even though I know he spent more time at Alabama. To me, he just feels like an Oklahoma quarterback.
Fair enough. All right. Our next game here. We have the Ravens and Patriots being played in Foxborough. The line is Baltimore -2.5 with an over/under of 44.
I'm gonna let you go real quick. I'm gonna grab a chew and then I'll be back because I'm actually kind of excited for this. This is gonna be a very, very interesting game.
Okay. So me personally, I don't think the Patriots are that good this year. I'm off on them, and I think that the Ravens are a pretty damn good team, and they let the Dolphins get the best of them. I mean, the Ravens were, I believe, in command of that game for a good portion of the day until they let Miami basically just throttle them at the end. That's why I'm definitely heavily leaning towards the Ravens here, even if it isn't Foxborough. And now some stats for this: the under for New England is 11-3 in the past, or in their last 14 September games, and the under is 12-4 in the Ravens' last 16 road games. Right, so if we're just looking for over-unders, that's something worth considering betting. Right now, the over-under is 44. So what this is kind of telling you is bet the under on that score. They're expecting this to be a lower scoring game. With that in mind, that can kind of play into the line a little bit. If you're, not expecting kind of blowout scores or anything, it'll be interesting to see how Belichick tries to corral Lamar Jackson. For me, I'm going to be taking Baltimore minus the 2.5.
So this is a hard game for me to judge because I think that Belichick is going to do a really, really good job. The Patriots have played fairly good defense this year. What they haven't been able to do is really score. This is going to be my upset pick of the week, I think. I'm going the Patriots to win outright. I do not know how that locker room is going to feel. They felt like they were so much better than the Dolphins. That Tua was not a dude. And that secondary was supposed to be one of the strengths of this Baltimore team. And they kind of got demoralized. I think they probably got a little demoralized, giving up 28 points in that fourth quarter. I think Bill Belichick is probably the greatest game planner the NFL has ever seen. And the running game for the Ravens has not been what everybody expected to see out of this team. I'm going to take Patriots money line, and that's kind of my upset pick. What are the odds with that? It was like plus 155, I want to say is what it was.
I'm not sure. I don't got that pulled.
I'm sorry. So you can get the New England money line plus 130. Baltimore money line is minus 155. So New England plus 130. I give them plus money. I think that they have a chance to win this game. And also, I'm fucking a homer. I'm not on the Ravens right now. And the fact that they have not run the ball as well as they have expected, or I think most people have expected, it's kind of a big deal. This team was expected to run down people's throats again. And you went what, Ravens money line?
I'm gonna I'll take Ravens money line. The 2.5 does scare me the more I think about it, because when I'm talking about the over under and how the under seems to be hitting with both of these teams, especially this time of year, I think this could be a much lower scoring game,
It's like a 17-16
which
game.
makes it within the realm of a field goal there. So I'm just going to take the Ravens money line. And then again, like I said, if you are going out there gambling, consider taking the under based on the stats. All right, next game, we have the Bengals and Jets being played, East Rutherford, New Jersey. The line is Cincinnati -6 and an over-under of 45. This is going to be an exciting game because we get to see one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL right now statistically, and Joe Flacco. Who's got 616 yards on the year and 5 touchdowns. And those stats are probably a little bit padded right now. However, the Bengals are 0-2, and they just lost to a Cooper Rush / Tom Brady led Dallas Cowboys team, who, Jerry's willing to walk to New York if he has a quarterback competition by the time Dak's ready to come back, apparently, which we know is not true. Dak is Jerry's boy.
No, yeah, that's changing.
Him being played at home, them a little bit in the fact he's not been playing.
Sound like a robot.
I'll let you go.
All right. So, oh God, where the hell did my shit go? Cincinnati is absolutely struggling right now. They cannot figure it out. Joe Burrow, we said it last year. They figured it out at some point and they made it to the Super Bowl. But Joe Burrow is going to fucking die if they cannot figure out how to block for him. Like, they went out, they spent all of this fucking money in the offseason to improve this offensive line. It has not made one fucking difference. He is still being hit at an alarming rate. Most sacked quarterback in the NFL. But I don't think that the Jets are very good, and they don't have a pass rush that scares me, even if I am the Cincinnati Bengals, who perpetually cannot fucking block for whoever is back there. With that being said, I do think this will be a closer game. The Bengals should have beat the Cowboys, in my opinion. Now, they could not block that really good front that the Cowboys have. Micah Parsons ate all goddamn afternoon. Got to Joe anytime he wanted to. I don't think the Jets will be able to do that, but I also don't think that the Bengals are playing very good football right now. The Jets are playing pretty good football. I'm interested to see what happens with the quarterback situation when they get that dog back out there. If Joe Flacco is playing this well, your team has a winning record, and he just continues to put your team in positions to win. I think it's going to be a very interesting conversation because they're going to have to play Zach Wilson. They can't not play Zach Wilson. But what happens if, he comes back and he doesn't perform well? Now we're having people call for Joe Flacco to get back out there. If you take Joe Flacco out of this lineup, he's not going to play as well as he is right now when he comes back in. There's no way. Going and sitting back on the bench is not going to be the same. He's not going to have that momentum that he's kind of carrying right now because Joe has some momentum. He's playing well. So he's not going to be that good when he comes back if for some reason Zach struggles. So they go to option number 3, maybe in Mike White. I think they are. It is Mike White, right?
Yeah, Mike White, I believe, is still their backup.
And I don't think they want to play Mike White because I think that there's a possibility that will show that Mike White might be a better quarterback than Zach Wilson, the guy they moved up to go get. This is going to be a good game. I think it will be a close game. I have the Bengals on the money line. I don't think they'll cover. I don't think they're playing well. They should protect a little bit better. They have not done a good job of that all year. I'm really interested to see what happens with that quarterback situation in New York, though, because with Joe playing this well, when Zach comes back, you have to play Zach because he's your franchise guy. If Zach struggles and you put Joe on the bench, Joe's not going to play as well when he comes back because he won't be riding that wave of momentum. And then Mike could be in line to get some more starts.
That's very true. But for me on this game, it's going to be Bengals. I'm going to take the money line. I do think that the Bengals could have their breakout game. They are a good team. They are a very good offense, despite all those blocking woes that are still happening, which kind of makes me think I don't know who their O-line coach is, but maybe that's a little bit more of the issue because they did bring in some talented linemen up there, and it's not gelling. So
at all.
But I know what Burrow is. You know what Burrow is. We've seen him be able to perform very well. We know what sort of offensive weapons that they have. The fact that it has not been clicking has me worried, which is why I'm not going to be taking the Bengals minus the 6 here. Last year, absolutely, I'm taking the Bengals minus 6 here because that team's working. Until I see it, I just can't take it, even against the Jets. But I am looking for a big-time bounce-back game from the Bengals and from Joe Burrow specifically in this game. So I'm going to be taking the Bengals money line as well.
Yeah, so both on the Bengals money line there. This has got to be a get-right game. It's got to be.
Got to be. Next game, we have the Eagles and the Commanders being played in Maryland. Philadelphia minus 6.5 is your line with an over-under of 47.5.
This is another game we get to watch one of the best statistical quarterbacks in the NFL right now in Carson Wentz.
Yeah, and Jalen Hurts. I mean, Jalen Hurts is
he's playing really well. He's playing really well. Carson is apparently he figured out how to play football again until when he forgets.
And that's the thing is this is I guess revenge game kind of for Carson potentially. Is this the game that he gets hurt on that field? I don't know.
I'm not hoping for it, but God, that field is notorious for snatching people up. And okay, so that Philly defensive line is a little bit better than I think you gave them credit for last week. They played really fucking good against you guys.
I obviously have my thoughts about that game. I feel like it was a lot more of the Vikings beating the Vikings than Philly beating the Vikings, and a lack of adjustments made by my team, because the Vikings did come under a lot of pressure. Jonathan Gannon, the defensive coordinator for the Eagles, does not blitz very much. That's something that the fans have been calling for constantly. Eagles shithawk reporter, sideline reporter, Gusalini, he was talking about he's not so sure about Jonathan Gannon. They blitzed the shit out of us on Monday. So it was definitely different, and we'll see if they are going to keep with that. And they should. I believe that getting pressure in Carson Wentz's face is going to rattle him. We just didn't, when it came to our offense, we were not sticking to 11 personnel. Like I had talked about how it had kind of been getting at the Eagles that way. Listen to a little bit more of the X's and O's guys for my Vikings. They found out that I believe it's Jordan Davis was their first pick, the big nose tackle from Georgia. He barely played, I think, 20 snaps for the Eagles in the Lions game. And when he was out there, interior of the line looked pretty good for him. The Vikings found that if we brought out our fullback, CJ Ham, Jordan Davis was going to come in. So they left CJ Ham off the field quite a bit. But we did not rush like the Lions. We didn't attempt to have a running game like that. Things got shut down pretty quick, along with those quicker scores by the Eagles, and our defense is playing terribly. That was the worst part of it to me.
Pat Pete looked bad.
He did not look great. And we are playing a very soft shell defense, and I think that they were trying to prevent Jalen from being able to get out and make some big gains and stuff like that. But we didn't make any sort of adjustments. We did not blitz anywhere near as much as we should have. It was a big time letdown by the defense. Now, I will say, as bad of a beating as we did take, we didn't give up any points in the second half. So something was working there. Obviously, the Eagles could have taken the throttle off a little bit. And then the offense, we just did not do anything other than try to feed Jefferson, which, as much as I love Jefferson and think that he's the best wide receiver in the NFL, I mean, Jefferson made a mistake that led to an interception in the game. We can't continue to force feed him because every NFL defense is going to know that. They're going to start double, triple covering him, scheming specifically for him. When you've got two other great receivers in Thielen and KJ Osborne out there, and then Irv Smith, if he didn't drop that fucking touchdown, that could have been a big change in the game. And if we had done something as far as those two turnovers that we had, on the blocked field goal, your cornerback Chris Boyd can't get run down by the kicker. You're a cornerback for a reason. And Jordan Hicks getting the interception, us not being able to convert on that and throwing another interception, it was a killer. I'm glad that we got that one out of the way, a good kick to the jaw, because this is going to allow the team to figure out who they are and what sort of grit that they have. The Eagles, not knocking the Eagles at all. They played a very good game against us. Darius Slay had himself basically like a career game.
Yeah, well, Carson Wentz kept throwing it to him. Not Carson Wentz, I'm sorry. Kirk Cousins.
Yep. Kirk Cousins played bad under pressure, and maybe it just truly is the Kirk Cousins curse of primetime games. Yeah. He's now 2-10 in primetime games, and do you know who the two teams are that he has beaten, or the two wins that he has? They're against one team out there. Is the Bears.
Okay, yeah. So
unless we're playing the Bears in primetime, things probably going to go rough. So keep that in your back pocket for betting later in the year, because we do have a couple other primetime games. It was a rough game for the Vikings, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the Eagles and the Commanders. I think the Eagles are a very good team. I think right now they could very easily be the class of the NFC. Until someone is able to knock them down. I do not see the Commanders being able to do that. I don't like the line of -6.5. So again, I'm going to take kind of the easy out here. I'm going to take Eagles money line winning this game.
Yeah, I am also going to go Eagles money line. Carson has played better. I don't know if he'll continue to play better. I think that we will probably see a regression back to the mean, but
my camera is going wonky, huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, I can hear you at least. There we go. I don't know what the hell just happened there.
No idea.
You don't got no storms, right? You got tea time, right?
No storms. That is purely on the computer end of things right now, which is all right, making me worry that my camera's gonna die.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm on the Eagles too. Their defensive front played much better. They blitzed. Darius Slay has been a godsend to them in the fucking secondary. And I agree. I think they are the class of the NFC right now until somebody kind of knocks them down a peg. So I'm on the Eagles money line. And listen, it is the easy way out, taking the money line. Like when we make our picks and we're going like we could just sit here and give you a winner loser. I think it would be easier on us. I like doing the spreads though, because that's how we're gonna bet. We wanted to make our picks this year like we were making our bets. So that's why we're giving you guys those. Because I mean, we can sit here. Yep, I got this, I got that money line. Nothing but money lines. But I like the element that we're adding with taking the points or not taking the points, because not everybody's just betting money lines. Some people are gonna bet the spreads. So I like that. However, I'm not doing it in this game. I'm gonna go safe here, and I'm gonna take the Eagles on the money line.
That's
that for sure.
It's probably a lot more recency bias because the sports book is fucking dry as the Sahara. So if I'm thinking about bets, I'm thinking safe ways to just increase the money that is there, and I feel real good about the money line here being safe. Right. Also, Shithawks reporter Gosselini did tell me it was not the kicker that ran down my quarterback; it was their holder. Who was a former rugby player. I don't really care. Yeah. Holder kicker. Chris Boyd.
He's a specialist.
Chris Boyd should be fast.
And there goes Evo again. Sound like a robot. Camera froze. All right. So we're going to move on to our next game. Last of our 1 o'clock games, we got New Orleans and Carolina. And for me, Carolina's just, they're not there. Baker has not played great. He played pretty good against the Browns week 1, at least in the second half. He did not look good last week. And this New Orleans team kind of struggled as well last week. They could not get anything going on offense. I think that offense has potential to do a lot of really, really great things, but they were also missing Alvin Kamara. Now, I don't know what Alvin Kamara's status is for this week. I have to Google it real quick. But for me, I'm going to play safe here again, probably. And I'm going to go with the Saints, and I'm going to go with the Saints on the money line. Right now, that line, as soon as I can fucking find it here. There it is. Saints favored in this game. They are -2.5, -140 if you're betting the money line, which is what I'm going to do. I don't know that Carolina has the juice. Getting everything back on that offense, kind of getting things going, has been a little bit of a work in progress. We need to see some more CMC. Baker's got to do a better job of being more efficient with the ball. He has not done that at all yet. And there were a lot of reports that he looked really good in Matt Rule's offense. It just has not come to fruition during a game, with the exception of the second half against the Browns, when they finally started, finding a little bit of rhythm, even though a lot of that came from a massive bomb on a blown coverage by the Browns. So for me, it's Saints on the money line. What do you got on that?
This is actually one of the tougher ones for me this week, because I don't know how I feel about either of these teams. I don't feel super confident. I know that the Saints have a pretty solid defense. And the Panthers, I just can't get a read on them as a team yet. It's interesting that the over-under is 41. So this is expected to be a low-scoring game, which makes sense with the Saints defense playing very well. I kind of like the Saints better here, just because those Panthers, and I like Baker, and I like some of the things that he's doing there. But it's tough. I mean, Jameis is nursing a lot of injuries there. He's got the back issues and whatnot.
Well, I like Taysom though, and Taysom can come in and do some interesting things.
Which is why I've got Taysom on my bench in the fantasy league as a tight end in fantasy. So,
do you know Kamara's status? I know that he was out last week. Have they reported his status for this week? Because I think that's going to be a big factor in this game.
Let me take a look here at the injury report. So Alvin Kamara is questionable as of yesterday. So let's see if we can see anything else on the interwebs about Alvin Kamara and if he's going to be playing.
Because Alvin Kamara makes that offense so much more dynamic. It gives Jameis an outlet. It allows them to run the ball efficiently. Because I think Jameis needs to work off of play action a little bit more. And we didn't get to see any of that. We did see Taysom get in that game last week, and performed very well. So I like Taysom as a backup there.
And it looks like he probably, if I had to guess, he's going to play. He is listed officially as questionable, but he has been a limited participant in practice over the past 3 days. If you're practicing like that, you got to be preparing to play. I don't expect them to hold him out at that point. Which definitely helps Saints out, and they've got, multitudes of receiving options. We know that Jameis can throw the ball around. I'm going to go ahead and take New Orleans minus the 2.5 on this one.
All right. Saints minus the 2.5. All right. So, good there. I'm ready to move on to our afternoon games.
Yep. All right. So we got the Jaguars and the Chargers in Inglewood, California. Chargers. This is a line that's got to be getting affected by that Herbert situation.
Mm-hmm.
Right now it's Chargers -3 over under a 42.5. I still think that the Chargers are a better team, even if Chase Daniels is playing, which is probably, where that, 3-point spread is coming from. If Chase Daniels were to be playing, I still think I expect Herbert to play this one, but if you're going to sit him for one game, it probably would be against the Jags, right?
Yeah, that's where I'd sit him if he's gonna have to miss a week.
Now, the again, most recent report from Herbert, and this is according to ESPN, he said ribs feel good.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know if it's his decision though. I don't know if it's his decision to play or not play. If that's going to come down to the medical staff and the coaching staff.
Yeah. I still like the Chargers in this game easily. I think that fuck it. I'll even take the spread in this one. Chargers -3. I don't expect the Jags to be able to come out and put one on like they did to Indy again. I just think the Chargers are a top to bottom better team. And I mean, they were able to hold it out with the Chiefs and stuff like that. Chase Daniels definitely is a downgraded quarterback if he ends up being the guy playing. But I still think that with him, they're a better team.
All right. And I'm actually going to go Chargers -3.5. Not -3.5, -3, right?
Yep.
I'm going there as well. And I think it comes down, this is the Lineman Lounge. It's going to come down to the offensive line play versus that really good pass rush of the Chargers. Khalil Mack looks like he is rejuvenated playing on the opposite side of Joey Bosa. Joey Bosa has been out of his mind so far this year. And I think that will continue. That Jags offensive line is better than it was last year, but they're still not great. And I think that we're going to see a ton of pressure from that Chargers team. So I would expect that we're going to see a lot of runs, a lot of Austin Ecklers, a lot of checkdowns. And they will be able to kind of eat away at that Jags team. And they can win this game by 7. So that line of -3, I feel comfortable there. Now, the Herbert news, we don't know if he's going to play. I think he probably will. But like we said, if there's a game you're going to sit him, I think this is the game you do it. Even with that, I think they can still win by a touchdown because that defense is going to play out of their minds. Derwin James has had a great year as well so far. So I'm going Jags. I'm sorry, Jesus Christ. I'm going Chargers -3.
All righty. Next game, we have the Rams and the Cardinals being played in Arizona. The line is Rams -3.5, over under at 48.5. Some stats here real quick. Sean McVay is 8-1-1 against the spread versus the Cardinals, and the Rams have covered 7 straight games in Arizona. The Cards also have not covered a home game since last October.
Yeah, and open beta available for everybody now on Call of Duty.
Free Call of Duty Activision marketing here about their open beta. Anyone can get on and play this weekend if you want to. You can possibly hop on there and catch a game with our guy. $20 is $20. He streams over on Twitch. He's out there playing this new Call of Duty right now. So if you're wondering how the game is, if you haven't paid attention to it at all, or you're interested in possibly getting into it, hop on over to Twitch. Watch 20 stream. Multiplayer right now, beta, not the Warzone stuff. And so you'll be able to see what it is, what the game's about. Ask him. He's very communicative with the people in his chat. And who knows, you might end up getting a free subscription to the channel because I go on there all the time trying to support our boy and sending out gift subscriptions. Well. So, yeah, again, the Cardinals, they were a bit outclassed in the first half there, and then all of a sudden Kyler went and looked like the kid that stole his parents' phone, running away from him, making crazy plays, coming back and win, making the Raiders fans who were popping champagne in the stands look foolish. And this game being played at home makes you think, oh, okay, they're going to carry that into this game. I just don't see it happening. The Rams are a better team. I don't know if I want to take the Rams -3.5. If it was 3 or less, I would absolutely consider it. I'm going to just take the Rams money line on this one. But again, those stats do kind of lead you to believe that the Rams actually will be able to beat it. You know what? I'm going to take the Rams -3.5 based on the stuff that I said earlier. I can't throw out these stats and then not live with them. Again, McVay's 8-1-1 against the spread versus the Cardinals and have covered 7 straight times in Arizona. Maybe that means that they're due not to, but I'm going to go with it. And Cards haven't covered a home game since last October. So I'm going to take the Rams minus 3.5.
I'm on the Rams minus 3.5 as well. For all the reasons that you said, and it took a collapse by that Raiders team to kind of get the Cardinals back in. Now, they made some great plays. Kyler balled out there in the last 4 minutes of the game. But listen, I know it's not a real stat. The Call of Duty stuff is a real thing, though. Like, it's not tracked really by anybody other than people who heard about the contract and did some digging. I think it does matter. Maybe Kyler's turning around, but it took a Herculean effort by Kyler last week to come out and find a way to win that fucking game. And I don't think that the Rams will allow that to happen. So I'm on the Rams. I'm taking the minus 3.5 because the stats don't lie. Okay. It's got to be the Rams for me, and I'm gonna lay the points too.
So real quick, I had to look this up at an ESPN piece here. Kyler Murray, his passion for gaming was passed down. He started playing on a PlayStation, then switched to Xbox, and now uses his PC as the hub for his video games. He plays Call of Duty on PC, plays Madden on the Xbox through a PC on a gaming monitor with an Xbox controller. So he is playing Call of Duty on PC, which means that technically he could not have been playing last weekend unless he got a copy on his PlayStation, which is absolutely possible. Mm-hmm. But he's playing on PC. He's absolutely been playing since Thursday. So his mind might be elsewhere.
Yeah, he's trying to snipe somebody and not watching film. So yeah, that's where I'm at, man. I know we're probably gonna hammer that fucking storyline to death this year, but until I see something else, I gotta use it. I gotta, especially when we're talking about picks for bets. So
absolutely. All right. Next game.
Yes.
All right. We have the Falcons and Seahawks. Just shitty bird play going on in Seattle. The line is Seattle -1 over under at 42. A little surprising, honestly. The way Geno played that first game versus the Broncos kind of showed me something. I don't know how repeatable it will be. I do like some of what Mariota's been doing. I definitely like what Cordell Patterson's been doing for that team. I'd like to see the Falcons get a win here. I'm going to take the Falcons plus the points just because I don't have any faith in the Seahawks.
Yeah, I don't have any faith in the Seahawks either. So I'm going Atlanta, and I'll take the point as well. I mean, I think that they could win this outright. It'll pay a little bit better, but I want to take the extra point because if nothing else, I'll at least take the push. The 1 point is not really going to be, consequential to your betting. Other than you could get a push that way. This is going to be a not great game. We need to see a little bit more out of Kyle Pitts, though. I think he has not had great numbers to start the year. Drake London has kind of cut into his target share. Cordero Patterson has looked really good. And Mariota has not been great throwing to Kyle Pitts. If they can get him going, I really like the Falcons in this game. I almost thought about going Falcons on the money line just for the odds, but I'm going to take the point. Just that way, gives me a little hedge there on the push just in case.
Alrighty. Next we have the Packers and Buccaneers, the Battle of the Bays being played in Tampa Bay, Florida. The line is Tampa Bay -1 over under of 42. Pretty low over under for this game. A lot of injuries to be concerned with here for the Buccaneers. So Tom Brady obviously has been nursing something, but you're without Chris Godwin again, it sounds like. We know that Mike Evans is suspended for 1 game after getting into a little bit of a scuffle with Marshawn Lattimore.
A little bit of a scuffle, yeah.
This is just a little dust up. It's pretty entertaining to watch. They're hurting at receiver. This is where I think this game is going, is that the Buccaneers and Fournette, they're going to be feeding Fournette the ball. Fournette's been running pretty damn good, and the Packers have been showing this year that people can run on them. The Bears in Green Bay were running on the Packers pretty effectively in the beginning until they had to really switch to a passing game to try to keep up with the Packers. The Buccaneers, however, they're going to lean into that rushing attack and try to control the game that way as much as possible. And the Buccaneers defense is actually really solid still. They have been doing a very good job. Packers offense, I'm still not feeling great about it. They are having to transition to be much more of a rushing team with that two-headed backfield. But I think that the Buccaneers have the defense to be able to defend against it. I don't know the Packers have the defense to be able to defend against Fournette as much right now. And obviously it's tough to bet against Tom Brady there in Tampa. This is, again, a very close line of only 1 point, So interesting situation. The stats I have here for this one is that, and this is kind of a wordy one here, but it's not just a Green Bay Tampa Bay stat in general, but for games that have a total score lower than 42, the underdog covers 60% of the time since 2018. And if those games take place in the first half of the season, that those odds go up to 66% with a 43, 22, and 1 against the spread. So because this is a game where the over-under is 42 right now, it's right at that threshold, basically, where the underdog technically has the odds here to win, but it's under 42, and right now the line is over under of 42. So it's a tough one. Again, I don't like the Packers here. I like the Bucs here. I like the Bucs being able to run the ball here. They did bring in Cole Beasley to their practice squad. It'll be interesting to see if he gets elevated for game day. I'm going to go ahead and take Tampa Bay minus the point.
Tampa Bay minus the 1. And I'm going the other way here, man. I didn't think that we would say that. What I'm about to say, I didn't think it would happen all year. Right now, the Green Bay Packers have better weapons than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Godwin's out. Mike Evans is out. Julio Jones is no longer Julio Jones. They don't have Gronk in Tampa anymore. Now, I like Leonard Fournette. Lenny is a stud. But the Packers have better weapons. Now Lenny's going to have to absolutely dominate this game for the Buccaneers to really get anything going. They don't have any juice on that offensive side of the ball. I like the under here because neither one of these offenses are great. I really like the two-headed monster that the Packers have at running back, though. And I think they will really lean on that in this game, as they have over the last week for sure. So I'm going to go with Green Bay, and I'm going Green Bay plus the point. No, you know what? I'm going Green Bay on the money line. I think they will get this game. That'll pay you a little bit better money since they are the dogs here technically. Not by a lot, but you will get a little bit better money there. So I'm going Green Bay on the money line.
We're about to be seeing the Cameron Brate, Russell Gage, and Scotty Miller show, and maybe Cole Beasley if he does get elevated for this game. That's going to be your passing options for Tom Brady. He's done more with less in New England before. Yeah. But again, they do have a pretty beat up offensive line. Akeem Hicks is out on that defense for the Buccaneers, so this is a team that's definitely battling through.
And Evo sounds like a robot. Pretty sure they are battling through injury, is what he was trying to say there. I know that he's hard. It's hard to convince Evo to go Packers, especially with their complete lack of weapons that they have at the wide receiver group. Sammy Watkins is out of this game for the Packers as well. Last I saw anyways. Let me double check just to make sure that has not fucking changed. And I'm not giving you guys false information, because that's a big deal. Sammy Watkins has been one of the most consistent wide receivers on that team. They got Randall Cobb there. He's Aaron's guy, but he has not really shown up. He's getting up there in age, and And Sammy Watkins is going to be out. So we're going to have to see a lot of Christian Watson in this game. And he's going to have to start taking a step forward to help that offense out. I can't see Tampa putting up enough points to win because they don't have anybody there. Evo, did I hammer what you were trying to say there? All right. You're fuzzy, but you're seeable now. Go ahead and say something. Let's see if you still sound like a fucking robot.
Oh, it's still going to be bad.
Okay. All right. Nope. There's that shit again. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll hop over into our Sunday night game. We talked to Joe Rockstar a little earlier in the show. I'm very excited to watch this game. And it's not even because I want to watch the game. I want to see how badly Hackett can fuck up his game managing again. It's been so bad that the fans are counting down the play clock. I do not foresee that getting fixed immediately. That's one of those things that you have to learn as a coach and get better as a coach, and that kind of takes a little bit of practice. Now he was kind of an offensive coordinator up in in Green Bay. I don't think he actually called the plays though. I'm pretty sure that came from their head coach. So LaFleur. So game management has not been something that he's really had to deal with, and it's very fucking apparent that he does not really understand clock and game management.
It's bad. It's
Go
bad.
ahead.
So my internet, I don't know why this internet is being a bitch, because I've got all my other stuff pulled up here to watch my up down rates, and it's all good. But for whatever reason, the StreamYard app keeps on showing that it keeps on going out. I'm actually seeing my little bar thing drop. I don't fucking know why. Either way, I texted you while watching this Broncos game because Hannah's a big Broncos fan. Yeah. And even though she doesn't know the ins and outs of football, I'm teaching her of what's exactly going on here. They kept on having delay of game penalties, and that's not on the players on the field. That's the coaches getting the plays in. I have never seen a fan base counting down the game clock to assist their offense to make sure that they don't get a delay of game. But they were doing that in Denver. We were counting down the bedroom watching the game. 10, 9, 8. It's funny. But you're also letting the defense exactly know what the game clock is, and they know as it gets closer to 0, okay, the ball's about to be snapped, so they're going to be able to get a little bit better of a get off as well. It's ridiculous, man. The coaching there in Denver, this team was a better team last year with at least lesser talent at quarterback. They upgraded some pieces on defense. The only thing that I can say is the coaching has to have fucked this team up. Like, Hackett.
They were a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender last year, everybody was saying.
Hackett's a fucking fraud, man. Like, he has to figure his shit out quick. And I know that the Boo Birds are out in Denver. They want him done already. And if it keeps going like this, you can't keep having these issues, man. Not with this sort of a roster. It's ridiculous, dude. Right now it's the line San Francisco -1.5. Like I said, I feel a little bit better about Jimmy playing. I don't think he's a world beater or anything like that. I like San Francisco in this game, man. I do, because the Broncos barely squeaked out the win last week. They lost to Seattle week 1. Maybe their game management gets a little better from a coaching perspective, but until the players on the field start actually playing better up to their regular potential, like, I can't get behind the Broncos even at home on this one. It's so fucking tough because the Broncos had the potential to be a really good team, and I feel like that coach is just tanking them.
Yeah.
I got to take the 49ers on this one.
You're going 49ers minus the 1.5?
Yeah.
I'm doing the same thing. And so I think these teams are very equally matched in terms of talent. They're both very talented teams. Quarterback play is going to probably be better from Russ. It should be better from Russ than it is from Jimmy G. We know what Jimmy G is. He is a game manager type guy. But we just talked about what game managing can do for you. And it will lose you games. And that's exactly what has happened to the Broncos in week 1. They almost fucking did it again in week 2. And we're talking about a brand new head coach who does not understand how to manage clock, manage the game. And he's going up against one of the best young coaches in all of football in Kyle Shanahan. Shanahan will out-coach Hackett in this game. And that's why I'm on the 49ers minus a 1.5. I think they cover for sure. I got no problem saying they can win by 3. They might win by more than that if Hackett continues his antics of not knowing what the fuck is happening in game situations, because that is exactly what it looks like. He does not understand game situations. He can maybe tell you a play. He can go out. Maybe he's good at running a practice, but understanding the ins and outs of situational football is something that you have to have as a head coach. And right now he's done nothing to prove that he has that.
Yeah, it's a shame. I really feel it for Denver fans. It's a shame. This could have been a really great year, and unless he figures his shit out quick, it's going to be a rough season.
Yeah, it's going to be not great.
All right, next, our Monday night game, we have the Cooper Rush-led Cowboys versus the New York Football Giants being played at home for the Giants in East Rutherford. The line is currently Giants -1 over under of 39. The Giants are 2-0.
The Giants are 2-0.
A great
Brian Daboll's got that
them.
team going.
A great start for him. Kenny Golladay ain't happy.
No, but I don't think anybody gives a fuck because he wasn't effective last year anyways.
Yeah, he is currently riding the pine a little bit. I mean, Cooper Rush actually had himself a pretty decent game. Did not expect the Cowboys to be able to come out there and beat Cincinnati, but they sure as fuck did. This is a tough one for me because I do like what the Giants are doing, but recency bias just tells me that the Giants are normally not that great of a team. Cowboys obviously are going through some shit, but they were able to get a surprising win last week. This one's almost a toss-up for me. It's tough for me to go one way or the other on it, honestly. I don't know. What do you think, Mike?
For me, I'm going Giants money line. I think that they are playing really good. Daboll has done a really good job of keeping Danny Dimes kind of in check, out of bad situations, and not forcing him to make plays that maybe he's not capable of playing. They've done a really good job of controlling down and distance. Saquon has looked like old Saquon. I don't know if that will continue, but as of I can't say that it's not because he's done it back-to-back weeks. And that is really, really helping Danny Dimes. And Daboll is an excellent coach. He knows how to kind of manipulate the game, deal with game plans, and keep Danny out of those obvious passing situations where we're, really putting the ball in his hands to go out and win us a game. I think he will continue to do that. I think Daboll is going to be a rock star of a head coach. I think the Giants are probably looking on the up and up because of how good of a coach he is. And I'm not a big Mike McCarthy guy. Now Cooper Rush did come out, played really good last week for what we were expecting. It was not a world beater by any means, but he went out and made some big throws. I don't know if we're going to continue to see that Cooper Rush week in and week out. So I'm going to go with a little bit more of a known commodity, and I'm going to go with the Giants on the money line.
I think I'll follow you on this one. Giants on the money line as well. I do think Dallas has a pretty solid defense, which is the one thing that really gives me a little bit of a reprieve there is that Dallas's defense is pretty good, but Saquon has been running the ball well this year. Daboll has been doing good things with that offense. Sterling Shepard's been getting involved. So I'll go with the money line on the Giants, take the home team here. in a primetime game, usually that ends up leaning a little bit more towards the home team. So I'll go ahead and go with the Giants on this one money line as well.
All right. And then we're gonna go back in time, to your boys.
Yep. So this one is the Detroit Lions, led by Dan Campbell and bunch, coming to Minnesota to play the Vikings. The current line is Minnesota -6 with an over/under of 52.5. So they're expecting a high-scoring game. If our defense plays like they did last week, there's definitely potential for that higher-scoring game. I am still a little shocked from last game. I expected it to be better. Yeah. I expected it to be a closer game. I had hoped for it to be I was okay with a loss last week if it was a close game, a hard-fought game, because I could see both of our teams, the Eagles and the Vikings, being playoff teams. But yeah, it's tough, especially with the recent history and stuff of my Vikings and how we react after those sorts of losses. It's tough for me. I'm not taking the Vikings money. No, I'm actually going to go Detroit +6 here. I think this could be a closer game. Detroit has been playing hard football. They've been playing good football. They have been keeping games close. They're a good team. I do like my Vikings to win, but I'm going to go ahead and take Detroit plus the points on this one. I mean, I would love to say the Vikings get to run away with this one, but I think this is going to be another tough matchup, and I can't discredit the Lions for what they've been doing there since Dan Campbell got into town. They have a gritty team. They have a good running attack, especially with DeAndre Swift there. Amon-Ra St. Brown has looked great.
So fucking good, dude.
So
good.
We've got, we can't focus on one thing or the other. It can't just be the rush, can't be the pass. We've got to be able to defend against both. The way that the defense played last week, we'll see if we can make adjustments for it. We didn't make adjustments in our game last week, which definitely has me worried. And it really, I think, is going to come down to, can Kevin O'Connell scheme a offensive game plan to get the ball spread around more in order to not just have it be one-dimensional on Justin Jefferson. And we absolutely have to get our running game going. That was one of Dalvin Cook's worst games in his career. I think he had 17 yards, and it was not just because he wasn't rushing well, though I will admit he didn't look great running the ball. It was, let's see how many rushing attempts he even had here.
I think he was at like 1 yard per carry.
He had 6 carries for 17 yards, an average of 2.8 yards. 6 carries for your starting running back is not getting it done. We had a total of 11 carries, and 2 of those were from Kirk Cousins. That's not utilizing your run game. You need to mix in run and pass, even though we are going to be more of a pass-heavy offense. That's going to take some of the pressure off of your quarterback and open things up in that pass game. The 3 interceptions from Kirk Cousins is definitely more anomalous than normal. He doesn't give up interceptions like that. But that is one thing that Kevin O'Connell has told him to do this year, is be more aggressive. If we end up getting interceptions, they happen, but I want you to be more aggressive in the passing game. But some of those passes definitely were not advisable.
Yeah.
I like the Vikings to be able to win this game if they can get that offense on track. I'm still unsure about the defense. We'll see if the adjustments can be made, but I think we can win in spite of that. It's just, if the defense is not working, this could be a higher scoring game. This could be a closer game, and that's why I'm willing to take Detroit plus the points here.
All right, and I'm doing the same. I expect you guys to win this game. I do not think that you are 6 points better than the Lions, though. The Lions are playing really good fucking football. We talked about this a lot, kind of build up to the season, and then we had Hard Knocks. Dan Campbell is going to get those boys ready. They're going to be ready to play you. 6 points is a lot of fucking points to lay in a division game for a team that has looked so much better. If I'm the Lions team and we're a touchdown dog, I'm kind of taking that. I'm taking it a little bit with the disrespect.
Yeah.
Like you do not want to disrespect a Dan Campbell coach team. Like they're going to use that as a fire. I think this game is going to be very, very close. I think that you guys will squeak out this win. But
Aaron
6
Glenn and
points
that
is too
defense,
much.
they like to blitz too.
Yes, they do. And here's another reason why I'm taking the spread. You guys are the favorite, -6, but the money line, you guys are -260 favorites. There's just not enough money to be made there. In my opinion, I think you will win, but -260 odds, I can't make a lot of money off of that. But what I can make a decent amount of money on is the Lions plus the 6 points, -110 odds. You're basically getting even money. Like I do see this as a close game. I think you'll win, but off of a pure money standpoint, give me the points and the better odds at -110. Like I do not understand the line. I think it's way too high. I could have seen this as a 3-point game. I don't know that Vegas is quite on that Lions train just yet. You guys are a good team, but so are the Lions. I think the Lions are going to compete for a playoff spot.
Yeah,
So
and hey, we saw, you called your defensive rookie of the year, Aiden Hutchinson, earlier, but I think you might have been off on that. It might be a different guy on that team in Malcolm Rodriguez, old Rodrigo. Right now, he's leading in Vegas odds to be the defensive rookie of the year, and
Yeah,
he's
so
playing solid.
yeah, we did talk about him a little bit when we were talking about Hard Knocks. The kid can fucking play, man.
He's a thumper, baby.
Yeah,
He got heart.
He is really good at fucking scraping. Like he's everywhere. But Hutchinson had a great game last week. Came at week 1, didn't do a fucking thing. Last week gets 3 sacks. Like we're gonna see spurts, I think, from Hutchinson. I don't know if he's gonna do that kind of work this week against you guys. I think you guys are a little bit better out at tackle, but that Dan Campbell team is very, very good. 6 points is too much. Give me the 6. Give me the better odds. I still think you guys will win, but in a very, very close game.
All righty. Well,
I think
that wraps it up for this week, Mike.
Yeah, that does it, man. Good show. We're going to try to get some more youth on next week. We're going to have week 4 coming to you next week to kind of recap all the things that we did this week. Hopefully my picks go much better. Evo had a good week last week, and I don't know if I'm going to make up that much ground. We were kind of on the same page on a lot of our picks.
Pretty damn close.
I think I can only get maybe 2 or 3 games on you. So I'm going to have to get all of those games if I'm going to pull back in and actually tie you up in our standings for our picks. But great show. I was very happy to be here. I was very, very tired when the show started. A little bit of a hangover. I drank, I don't know, maybe a 12-pack of fucking ranch waters last night. Because I have not been able to find any ranch water since we moved out to Ohio. Bar we went to last night, little dueling piano bar. They had a brand of ranch water I've never seen. Gave it a shot. They were delicious. Kept sucking them bitches down. Basically had our waitress on a 15-minute timer. Just bring me one of these motherfuckers every 15 to 20 minutes, and we're going to have a good night. So was a little hungover this morning, but man, I love fucking being here. Love chopping it up and going through the NFL. And as soon as Albert Pujols hit that 700 last night, I was immediately texting you like, we got to talk about Albert right off the top of the show, because what an excellent accomplishment, and being able to sit here and talk about, all those great things he did, man. It made me so excited. I'm ready for playoff baseball. I'm ready to keep rolling through the fucking NFL, and I'm already excited for next week.
Me too.
So let's get the fuck out of here. Family just got home. We're gonna try to do a little fishing trip tomorrow before the weather gets too shitty and we got Graydon's game. So we're gonna get out of here, guys. Thank you very much. If you want to interact with the show, we can go to Twitter at Lineman Lounge. We got the Facebook group and the page. The group is full of just ridiculous fucking memes. You're gonna see a lot of personality in there. We also got TikTok, Instagram. You can check us out on YouTube live. You can go back and watch any of our shows as well. And then we also simulcast on that Facebook group and the Twitter. You can also listen anywhere that podcasts can be found. We're the Lineman Lounge, two dummy, thick idiots. And we're going to see you guys next week. Let's get the fuck out of here, bro.
See you.
Welcome to the Lineman Lounge, hosted by Mike and Evo, calling their shots and being outlandish.
Breaking news from the Lineman Lounge. My fantasy football team just took a huge fucking hit. And that also makes it even more likely that the Raiders are going to beat the Ravens on Monday night. Le'Veon Bell is about to be your starter. Latavius Murray is going to go there as well. Jesus, fuck my ass.
Get ready for the thickest podcast in the game. Coming to you from Hangar 6, where sleeves are